Hello, everyone. So today I have the pleasure of having Brandon Duncan from Compass in Raleigh, North Carolina. He's going to cover the market out there. Welcome, Brandon.
Thank you for having me on, Raphael.
It's my pleasure. It's my pleasure. So tell me, Brandon, tell me about the market in Raleigh, North Carolina. Like, what is that? What does that encompass? Like, what is the market in Raleigh, North Carolina? Tell me a little bit about it.
Well, it's been really, really good. It's been strong. For the past, I would say I've been in business now 10 years. So the market has been strong ever since I've been in the real estate market here in Raleigh. It's one of those markets that's kind of more resilient to what's going on around the country because of the just the demographics and the jobs that we have here, because we have the Research Triangle, which is a lot of tech jobs. So all the tech companies that you see in like Silicon Valley, there are a lot of those are placed in that Research Valley area. Also, you have the hospitals here, and then you have colleges as well. So it kind of insulates us from some of the stuff that may be going on around the country that could cause the market to slow down. So Raleigh has been on that consistent growth pattern. I would say ever since I've been in the business, it's been on that growth where it's growing. And now with COVID, it started to grow rapidly because of the area. We have nice schools, the temperature, the climate here. So it's one of those markets to where I don't see it slowing down anytime soon. We slowed down just a little bit with the current rates and stuff, but as far as the housing market here, I would say it's really strong.
Okay. And what is going on with like new development? What is happening with, because I know you guys have land, you guys can construct in comparison to New York. What's happening with new development? What's happening with the real estate market right now? How are rates affecting things out there right now?
Yeah, so rates have slowed down just a little bit. So we are seeing kind of a squeeze on the rates just because the price points here have went up. Just over the past 3 years, the median price in Raleigh in 2021 was 374. In 2023, this year is at 425. So just those pricing, you've seen that price go up, and a lot of that has been in effect just because of new construction, where you see those price changes. Also, but there is a ton of new construction being built. So everywhere you go in Raleigh and all the suburbs around Raleigh, they're building new construction. And the thing that you're seeing is that they can't keep up with the growth of people coming into the area. So it's new constructions behind. Our inventories are low. It's been low for the past 4 years, 3 or 4 years now. The inventory has been super low. So we're trying to actually catch up with the demand that we have here in the market. So just for instance, I was at a new construction community. What was this last week? That just to see the price increase where it started at, and it's already like over 100K increase from when the first homes were built like 2 years ago. So it's just a matter of seeing those increases in the price points in that new construction that we have here. But it is a ton of new construction being built in this area.
And that takes pressure off the existing homes, right?
It does, but there's not enough. That's the
It's
thing
not
that you're
enough.
running into. Is there's once the so like here the rates is really just holding our market kind of, it's just holding it steady. When the rates drop, the new construction was selling super fast. The home resale homes were selling super fast. It got to a point here is that new construction, they were like not even releasing, they were like doing a bidding type thing where they would release a few homes, you had to go in and bid on the home, and if you won, then you got it. So that's what a lot of new construction builders were doing. And they did that up to, some stopped right around last year, but it was something that wasn't uncommon during the COVID period, that you were bidding on new construction homes just to get in there, and they were selling super fast.
Okay. Yeah. And who are the people that are usually buying? Are there people that are there a lot of out of state in comparison to people that are just moving in life stages in North
Yeah.
Carolina? Like what's the buyer pool? What does that look like right now?
I would say it's pretty even. You do have a lot of relocation coming in. I've worked with a lot of relocation clients here in the past couple years. That's been more than normal. So you do see that coming a lot, but you also see people here that's been here for a while, that's gotten jobs, graduated, that's looking, to move up, stay in the area, raise their families and stuff like that, that are buying in this area. So it's not super like one of those transient areas, but it's one of those areas where you see that's growing. We also have a lot of people that come here to retire because our state taxes are a little lower than other places. So you've seen an uptick in 55 plus communities as well, where at one point you didn't see a whole lot of those here, but you've seen an uptick here in the past few years where they're building out more 55 plus communities for retirees. So I can say it's probably a little mixed. I would say it's probably more local that's buying, and in a very strong, relocation market that's coming in. But that relocation market now has gotten to the point where it's very, like, people are coming in, they're spending money and they're moving here, and
Right.
it's raised the price point a little bit just because they're used to paying more. Or here at one point the prices were lower, so they were coming in paying cash, paying over list price for homes, and kind of pushing that market up for the people that actually lived here. It was like, a drastic change because I've been here for 10 years and seen the price points jump so drastically. And if they didn't buy earlier, you have these out of town people that's coming in relocating that they don't mind the prices because it's lower than what they were paying anyway.
Yeah, it's all perception, right? Because
Yeah, exactly.
if you perceive of a house over here for 650, 1,200 square feet, and then all of a sudden, you see like a house over there. I mean, a lot of these homes are like 2,000, 2,500 square feet, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Four
So yeah,
bedrooms, 2.5 baths for 450 or 500, whatever the price is. I mean, it raises
mhm,
your eyebrows, especially, and people get excited. But the same thing happens over here when there's a part of the boroughs in Brooklyn, right? Where Brooklyn or Queens, right? Where houses are a little bit smaller, it's more dense, right? And prices up there are much higher. I mean, you can get basically a one family 1,100 square feet in some areas in Brooklyn and Queens. They're 800,000, 900,000, sometimes a million. They come into Long Island, and then it's just the same thing happens. People in Long Island are not used to these prices, but they will overbid and 100,000, 50,000, and now these new prices settle, which makes it a little bit difficult for the people that actually live there to buy.
exactly.
So the same thing is happening there. So tell me, like, the median price you said is a little bit north of 400. Like, what can you get for that? Like, what is it that you can get for that?
That'll vary, and it really just varies on location. So where
Okay.
you are in Raleigh. So in some places that would be a 3 bedroom, 2 bath, 17 to 2,100 square foot home, single family. Or you get that same home, let's say in some of the suburbs or just around, like, closer to downtown Raleigh. That would be the price that you would pay for a townhome.
Okay.
So you're looking at 3 bed, 2 bath, 17, same square footage and everything, but you're looking at different types of homes with that median price. Now, when you get on the outskirts of Raleigh, what you're seeing now that's happening, because Raleigh got to the point where they have to expand because they built so much inner city, downtown. They're building up and out right now. So you're seeing more townhomes being built, condos being built. And if you're getting those single family homes, they're going to be built more in the suburbs around Raleigh, which is
Okay.
Wendell, Knightdale, Cary, Wake Forest, Youngsville, just to name a few. That's quite a few. But you're seeing those areas now are starting to boom more because you can't get into Raleigh as much for a good price like you wanted to, just because the prices are, have jumped up so much. So, but like I said earlier, it really just depends on where you are in Raleigh with that 425.
Yeah, because now with remote work, I mean, you can go further away for something cheaper,
Exactly.
more of a house.
Yeah. And the
Okay.
suburbs around here are not too bad to get to Raleigh. So most of them are about, 20 to 35 minutes away from downtown Raleigh. So a lot of people don't mind it. It's because, you can get in and, you can still go and enjoy the area downtown Raleigh, the things that you want to do around Raleigh, and still go home and it's not like a super long drive away.
Yeah.
So a lot of people don't mind that, and the other areas are growing where they're putting in the amenities that people want. So they don't have to go down to Raleigh sometimes. They can stay
Right.
in their, the town that they built their home in.
Yeah, I want to go back to what you said about the 55 and over community for those folks that
Mm-hmm.
are, thinking of retirement and stuff like that. Now, a lot of these retirement communities, they come with a lot of amenities, right?
Yeah.
Cater
Yes.
to people in those age brackets, right? Those age groups.
Yeah, they're
But
nice.
also, I mean, do they tend to be a little bit less expensive, these properties, or
No, actually.
okay,
So they are usually a little more expensive
okay,
just because of the style of home that they are. They're ranch style homes. So they naturally take up more space. So you start to see those are a little more expensive than other homes in certain neighborhoods, and the amenities that they offer. They're I would say their price points is geared towards that 55 plus community. So it's something to where when they're moving, you know, if it's a boomer, someone who sold, had a home for a while, that's retiring, selling. So that price point is geared more towards them because it's going to come with the amenities. Usually the communities don't have any lawn care, stuff like that. But the price point on them are still, they're competitive with compared to the actual median price. They're usually a little higher from what I've seen, but they're still reasonable enough to where people that are retiring here look at it like it's still a good deal for them.
Yeah, which is good because they're building ranch style homes, and most people want everything on one floor instead of going
Yeah,
up and
yeah,
down the stairs. So,
yeah. So a
um,
lot of the homes here are built, you know, we have more like those cookie cutter neighborhoods where they
yeah,
like all the homes are super close. They're built straight up and down. They're trying to maximize the space that way,
right.
not super huge lots. So those 55 plus homes, they're kind of built the same, but they're, you know, you got 1,700 on the ranch style. It takes up more space and they can't probably, you know, put as many homes in. So they maximize it. That price is a little higher just because of that.
Okay, so now what I'm going to ask you is what would be the ideal scenario? Just to talk about process, right? Let's say
Mhm.
somebody's looking to sell their home and buy over there, and or somebody just doesn't own a home and it's like, you know what, I want a change of scenario, of scenery. I want change, and I want to go to Raleigh, North Carolina, and just start and buy a house from the very beginning. What
Mhm.
would you say would be a typical process?
So the first thing we'll do is literally try to get on the phone, like a Zoom call, like we're doing here. And that way we kind of learn exactly what you're looking for, you know, what areas might work best, you know, budget, you know, what you're looking for in the community. If you're coming here for work, relocate, like those different types of things. So that way I can know exactly where you know, would be a good area for you to possibly take a look at. Let's say, like, hey, you might want to be in downtown Raleigh area, but one of the suburbs might be better just based on where your job is, where traffic might take you. Like, if you don't want to get into the hustle and bustle of the traffic, well, maybe you might want to go around Raleigh a little bit. So we get on that call first just to go through those things to kind of hash out like what would be the best area. The next thing would be, you know, if it's, you know, you have to get financed. If you're doing cash, great. If you're not, you know, talk with the lender just to kind of see exactly where you are as far as with your money and budget finances. Um, that's the next step. And then third, after that, we kind of just start. What I do is I kind of, you know, start sending stuff that looks similar, like some of the homes that you might like price point wise. And if you're in the area, if you're visiting area, we can go out and take a look at some of the homes. If you're not, what I do for my clients is I'll go out, you know, videotape, do a FaceTime walkthrough with you, you know, show you the neighborhood. This is what you're looking at, show you some of the amenities that's going on there. Some of the things that might interest you that, you know, goes on in this neighborhood, just to give you a feel before you come down and actually take a look at it. But it's always good if you can come down and, you know, we can go and drive around some of the neighborhoods and take a look at it so you can get a kind of a feel of what you're about to purchase when you're relocating in. You know,
That's
and
really
we
good.
send you like a nice little guide that shows you some of the stuff around town, some of the events and stuff that go on, some of the different things that you can do in the area. So that way you can kind of familiarize yourself with certain things that's going on here.
Okay. And you said it's an attorney state just like New York, except that
Yes.
the process over there takes a lot. You guys move much quicker than New York, right?
Yes, yes. So you could, I mean, if you have a good lender and you find something you want to move fast, I've seen some close as fast as 15 days. And then typically it's between 30 and 45 days that we, you know, handle closing. So you can move pretty quickly. So, you know, once you do go on the contract and stuff, we'll do all our inspections here, get the inspections done, negotiate any repairs that need to be taken care of, and then pretty much get the closing. So it's a pretty smooth process. You know, once you get past that negotiation repair stage, that's usually when deals kind of can, you know, fall through. Stuff happens if the repairs are not done or you don't like, you know, what you find in the home if you're doing a resale. But normally, you know, it runs pretty smoothly once you do find the home, go into contract, and then get to the closing table. So now I will tell you this: in North Carolina, we have a thing called a due diligence deposit. So anyone that's relocating here, they always have a question about the due diligence deposit. So the due diligence deposit is a deposit that you pay directly to the seller, and it gives you the ability to go through the home and do all your inspections, get all of, you know, your finances right. So you'll have a due diligence period when you do that. During that period, let's say you have a 14-day due diligence period. You can go through the house, do all your inspections, do anything that you need to do on the home to make sure that you want to purchase this home. If you purchase the home, if you're going to continue past the due diligence period, that money goes towards the purchase price. If you decide to walk away, which you can, you actually lose that deposit and the seller keeps it because they have to take their home off the market when they go into contract with you and they can't sell it to anyone else during that time period. So that's a due diligence deposit that whenever someone comes here and they buy a resale, it's something that, it comes up and it's something you have to explain multiple times just because it's very different from most places around the country.
So that's interesting. I'm glad you brought that up. That due diligence, how much usually is it? Is it a percent of the sale? How much usually is it?
It varies. It varies. So normally, I mean, you could say between, 1 to 2% of the purchase price, but it varies though. So I've seen some that's very low. And I've seen some where people pay a lot of money for due diligence, but it's a lot of money at risk though.
Yeah.
Just because if let's say you find a home you like and you go through it and it's completely, in shambles behind the walls, if the seller doesn't decide to fix those things, then you have a decision to make. You're either going to, continue with the sale or you're going to walk away, which you have all the right to walk away. You just lose that due diligence money in that process.
So wait a minute. So if I'm buying a house, I'm just going to put $500,000, 500. Let's say it's 1%, $5,000.
Yeah.
I go in there. It goes directly to the seller, not to an attorney escrow account. It goes to the seller.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
Okay. They have that money in their account, and I go in there and do an inspection, and I find major issues with the house, structural, whatever it is. Even if I find that stuff and back out, the seller still keeps the $5,000.
That's right. Yeah, the seller keeps it.
Wow.
Now, the thing that happens on the seller side, if it's something that's material fact, then they have to either fix it or they have to tell the next buyer in line the things that's wrong with the home. So they can't just go find a new buyer and don't say anything. So at that point, it's been discovered. You do have to let them, market it and let everyone know, like, these are the issues if you don't fix it.
Right, but let me ask you a question.
Lose that money.
But if the seller has my 5,000 and they can keep it no matter what, can I like ask the seller to be like, look, I found structural issues or I found these issues. Can you fix it? I mean, the seller can say no and still keep the money, right? Or what binds?
Right. They can.
It's out of good faith that they do it, not other.
Yeah, it's one of those things. If they say that they're gonna do it, and you'll get everything in writing. If they say, hey, we're gonna fix it, you'll get everything in writing saying that they will fix it before closing. But if they're a seller where they're like, hey, I'm not fixing anything, because it could come back, just for an example, it could come back as a repair. Let's say it's a $15,000 repair. The seller may not have that cash to do it at that time. They may be like, hey, I can't afford to pay for this repair and I'm not fixing it. Now it's going to suck for them when they try to sell, because now they have to let everyone know, like, hey, this needs to be done on the home. But as the buyer, yourself in that situation, you're kind of putting the rock in a hard place, because you're like, okay, do I really want to buy this home and then turn around and have to put $15K in the repair? Or I've given them my $5K. Now I can just turn around, wash my hands of it. I lost my $5K, but I'm not buying something that's a money pit. Okay. So that's kind of how that works with the due diligence period.
Yeah, that's because for us,
it's one thing that comes up all the time when.
Yeah, I mean, for us, nothing is binding. I mean, there's an accepted offer. Nothing is binding. We do the inspection. Nothing is binding. We can back out, right? Until two people sign, which is the buyer and seller, sign with their attorneys, then it's completely binding. And the seller's attorney has the buyer's deposit in the seller's attorney's escrow account, right? Like if they have it in an escrow account, then, but wow, anyway, every state has a different process, but that's why it's important to know and speak to someone that understands how to get through not only the area, geographically and that type of stuff, but you guys operate differently in New York, and every other place operates differently. So you need to know somebody from the ground. Reading Google is one thing, but talking to somebody that has been there, done that, it's a whole different story. So Brandon, thank you for the information. If somebody wanted to get a hold of you, what's the best way?
Best way is to call me. You can call me. My number is 919-808-2001. Or you can email me at brandon@duncanprimerealty.com. or you can find me online as well at www.duncanprimerealty.com. That's the best ways to get in contact with me. If you call me, text that number, that's my direct line, so you'll get me directly. And yeah, if you have any questions about the area, I'll be glad to sit down, get a quick Zoom call with you to go over details and see how we best can help.
All right, Brandon. Thank you so much. We'll be in touch, okay?
All right, sounds good. Thank